Hey guys, in this video you will see Assassin's Creed Shadows Extended gameplay first impressions. Ubisoft just published Assassin's Creed Shadows Extended gameplay, and you may have seen more stuff in Ubisoft Forward. Guys, Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place in Japan, and is something that fans have been waiting for a long time. I particularly like this theme a lot. So I'm going to talk about what I saw in this demo that showed Yasuke's gameplay and Naoe's gameplay. So without further ado, let's get to the video. The two characters are completely different, but I think maybe this is a unique and very good thing about Assassin's Creed Shadows that we had. One or another Assassin's Creed had two characters, if I'm not mistaken, but until then it wasn't at that level. The fact is that the interaction between these two characters, Yasuke and Naoe, will give Assassin's Creed Shadows a much greater dynamic. The impressions that the gameplay gave of Yasuke is that he is a battle tank. He is a giant. He is very strong. This is noticeable when he walks among the Japanese NPCs. So far, the gameplay hasn't shown him climbing something or doing parkour, and this is a radical change so far in the Assassin's Creed franchise games. Well, folks, we know that it is a characteristic of games in the Assassin's Creed franchise to have a protagonist character who has the absurd maximum climbing ability. And for the first time, it appears that the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows will not have this incredible and renowned ability that every protagonist character in Assassin's Creed has. At least so far, one will not have this function in the game. The main characters in other games in the franchise are absurd climbers, and regardless of whether they are tall or short, strong or thinner. For those who remember and have played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you know Eivor, who is a Viking, climbs obstacles calmly and practically has the same physical size as Yasuke. The producers are probably looking to innovate as the game has a disruptive feel to other Assassin's Creed games. Yasuke's thing is more hand-to-hand combat, more battle with swords and heavy weapons, while Naoe's is a totally different form of gameplay. She scales a lot and she's a more traditional assassin. Some important new features are very notable. So in the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Yasuke's gameplay was first shown, and Yasuke, as I already mentioned, is more hand-to-hand combat with a lot of beatings, and he's a much bigger guy than everyone else the Japanese there. Because he has characteristics that are totally different from the Japanese of that time. He has heavy armor, he is giant, and he has heavy weapons, in addition to the katana. Basically, the game conveys the idea of choice in the mode and style of fighting. Yasuke has the most aggressive and violent mode. We see this in the gameplay due to the heavy weapon he uses. The guy slaughters enemies calmly, and his strength is much greater than the initial NPCs in the game. This is very innovative for Assassin's Creed games. This style of gameplay in Assassin's Creed Shadows will probably please many people who wanted a new twist on the franchise. The brutal style and finishing are very good, and I particularly like this idea of change shown in Assassin's Creed Shadows Extended gameplay. The best deals for your favorite console and PC games can be found at Instant Gaming. Don't waste time, click on the link in the description, and enjoy. This new dynamic in Assassin's Creed Shadows will probably allow characters to change throughout the story, which is a very welcome mechanic, as this type of gameplay gives the game a more dynamic and fluid look. This was very well approved in Grand Theft Auto 5 and made the game incredible with the most elaborate narrative. If Assassin's Creed Shadows uses this same strategy in a medieval Japanese setting and history, it will be a very epic game to play. This would change a lot from the standard of Assassin's Creed in general. Basically, at some point you want more action and more heavy fighting, or the game situation requires a heavier fight, you simply change character and put Yasuke in the fight. At other times, you prefer something more sneaky and neutralizing enemies, since now with the new dynamics, you can leave enemies unconscious. For these missions or game modes, you can choose Naoe. It's worth remembering that Assassin's Creed Shadows now has a morale system, and that depending on how you play, this can change the game's endings. And in a setting of samurai culture and all Japanese medieval culture, the placement of a system that measures the player's morale and honor is something that suits a lot. Another very peculiar and notable detail of the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows is how much the environment can favor the type of protagonist you choose. There are scenarios that favor stealth mode, so the protagonist Naoe will make the most of it. Naoe is, until now, the smallest assassin among all the other characters in the franchise in the Assassin's Creed games. This can be used strategically by the player. Apparently, Assassin's Creed Shadows will have a much greater layer density than other Assassin's Creed and a depth of possibility between the protagonists that is also very extensive compared to other games in the series. One thing that draws a lot of attention during the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows is the fact that the fight has a series of fight animations during the gameplay. We know, and even complain a lot, and criticize Ubisoft for using the same animations in many games or not having much variety in combat. But it seems they fulfilled the requests of many fans, and this new game will have a greater number of finishing touches and combat animations. Once again, Naoe in this game will have greater variation as they have several different objects to use during fights. One of these objects is a gain that we will be able to use to climb and jump over obstacles, and can also be used in combat, which is something completely new shown in Assassin's Creed Shadows extended gameplay. To give you an idea, Naoe can do pirouettes, rolls, and the combat movements themselves are very different from Yasuke. Furthermore, this different new weapon will give you greater freedom and more agility on the stairs. This is quite logical because Naoe is a light character and needs to be quick and silent in finishing, and a chain with a hook can save her from sieges by several enemies at the same time. Now I need to mention something I noticed when I was watching Assassin's Creed Shadows extended gameplay. The only thing I found a little strange about the demo was that it seemed like playing as Yasuke was easier. At least that's how Yasuke's gameplay conveyed the idea. You can notice during the gameplay how quickly it was to defeat a boss right at the beginning. Obviously, we don't know what mode was in during the gameplay, and generally presentation gameplay tries to show things in the most fluid way possible. But that's the impression I got when watching it. Perhaps the difference between the protagonists is a little unbalanced, and I believe that for the game to be more dynamic, a balance would be ideal. Understand the following situation. If playing with a certain character is simpler and easier, regardless of the enemy you face, then obviously the strongest character in the game will always be chosen. You can notice that Naoe's gameplay is more complex than Yasuke's, even though this new one brings something new like Yasuke's character. And guys, Yasuke is a samurai. He is a master of weapons, especially the katana. So I hope that this essence of the character is better explored and that even we players can evolve and perfect our moves with both characters. This gameplay has not yet shown a function in which the two fight together, but everything indicates that it will be possible for this to happen at some point in the game. There is still some doubt as to how the characters will alternate, but if it is along the lines of Grand Theft Auto 5, we will probably use the peculiar characteristics of these characters for specific missions and possibly joint gameplay at a certain point. Well guys, we can all see that the demo was extremely rough. I mean, it wasn't at the height of the new generation, and it was still possible to notice some basic bugs. Another detail is that throughout the gameplay, there was a message written, "Work in progress," which obviously what we were seeing in the gameplay was not yet the final model. So if you probably like the graphics and the shape of the gameplay, probably in the final model it will be much better than what was presented during the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows. The team is certainly at full steam to deliver this game as complete as possible, especially because expectations for Assassin's Creed Shadows are very high for fans of the saga, and the production team knows this very well. By the way, some improvements can already be noticed in this gameplay, such as the characters' facial expressions. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this was a frequent point of criticism among fans, and now in this game it is possible to notice the difference. The scenarios and animations are very beautiful. The textures of the clothes and armor, the sword, the reflection of light on the sword are all beautiful in this aspect. The negative point would still be some aspects that I've already mentioned as basic bugs and some graphical aspects that can be improved and that I believe will be finalized by the release date of Assassin's Creed Shadows. By the way, it is scheduled to be released later this year, so they will have to race against time to deliver everything in order and satisfactorily. Assassin's Creed fans expect a true masterpiece from Ubisoft, and I hope that this time the same drama doesn't happen as in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Unfortunately, when it was released, the game's graphics left a lot to be desired, and this really disappointed fans at the time. So let's see how it goes. Another very interesting thing that was shown in the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows was the issue of dynamic weather. And my friends, from what little we saw in the trailer, it's very well done. The game's climate and general ambience as the vegetation will change throughout the seasons. Each phase of the season will take on a totally different shape, and that's very interesting. This was very well mentioned at Ubisoft Quebec. Regarding the issue of the frozen lake, the character would not be able to hide in it as he could in the summer. So all of this shows that they are concerned with bringing a very realistic aspect from the climate point of view. Practically the entire scenario in terms of color tones of vegetation will change over time, and this is great, as the game doesn't stay still in the same situation. Another cool thing is that we can take advantage of the weather for missions. So if it's raining, this can help us with stealth and keep the characters in the shadows, like the name of the game itself. Well guys, this dynamic weather system certainly helps a lot with the immersion of the game, and prevents it from becoming stagnant and boring to play. This is a big new feature for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and promises to raise the level of gameplay for the game and possibly for future sagas of the franchise. Well guys, little is known about the details about what the issue of Yasuke not doing parkour will be like, but I believe that this serves to give the game new possibilities. And Naoe herself will play this more stealth role in the game to please old fans of the game series. Guys, there's no way to know if Assassin's Creed Shadows will be successful. Many fans, because of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, are a little afraid of having too many expectations. But to be honest, this game has everything going for it. Mainly due to the story it has and the density that was possible to notice in the Assassin's Creed Shadows extended gameplay demonstration, I myself believe that it has everything to be a great game and has the potential to be among the best of the year. You can see that the developers are taking great care in making the game well done in Japan. Let's hope they manage to fix the bugs and make it very dynamic until its release date. Let's remember that the Assassin's Creed franchise has a lot of weight in the gaming world, and that it plays its role well in this genre of open-world games that is so loved by its fans. And despite any flaws that this gameplay demonstrated, we are still talking about a work that is being completed, and they, the producers, can still surprise players and fans of the Assassin's Creed franchise. Guys, now tell me in the comments, what are your expectations for Assassin's Creed Shadows? And what did you think of everything shown in the gameplay? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel here. Activate the bell to receive notifications of new videos, and share this video with your friends. I'll leave you watching this finale of the gameplay. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching, my friends!
To being allies then.